Hey guys, welcome back. Been a minute. They've been so busy doing some other stuff, juggling an agricultural page, juggling the sport page. It's a lot. Let's start off with some interesting stuff that happened over the weekend. Manchester United, Man City losing. Nobody actually foresaw that. Nobody could foresee that Man City would lose. Everybody thought they were just going to keep on powering forward to top this log and build a big point difference, but they lost. And it was our opportunity as Liverpool FC to catch them. But then I was watching rugby. My friend calls me. He's like, Mitchell, it's bad here, guy. There's a red card. We are playing. We are down 10 men, 10 against 11, and Tottenham has us under the cosh. I tune in. I'm watching this game. Curtis Jones was sent off. We get an opportunity. We attack through Darwin Nunes. Nunes gets an opportunity. We score. VAR rules that as it was offside. And there's a lot of controversy around that thing. I don't know if Liverpool FC are going to elevate it or they're going to look at some stuff or probably I don't know. Somebody needs to be held accountable. Then we score. The goal is disallowed. Tottenham get an opportunity. Jota gets sent off. Got a yellow card. Then he does another tackle and gets another yellow and he gets sent off. Now we're down to 9 men, 9 versus 11. If I was Klopp, I was going to tell the team we don't need to attack. Let's just play for a draw. Everybody fall back. Everybody defend. Salah come in. Okay, Salah stay in the midfield. Everybody pull back and let's defend. Matip scores an own goal, a brilliant own goal. I was wondering what was he doing sticking his foot there, but I get that he was trying to prevent one of the strikers because had that ball passed him, there were two Tottenham strikers running in there to score. Then he just poked it in. Beautiful, actually, very excellently poked into the net. And I was just there like, wow, this is the end of it. There's no way going to come back from this. Tottenham celebrated as if they won the Champions League or they won the Premier League. And now we have it all to play for. I think we even have Europa games coming up. Liverpool still has some Europa games coming up. So it's going to take time for them to really. I read that they're going to appeal the Curtis Jones red card. I don't know about Jota's one. Jota might stand and he might be suspended for the next game. The problem that I have with Liverpool is we sold 8 players, we signed 4. And I don't think that's enough. Because right now, if Jota is not around, who do we put in there? Okay, we can put the Curtis Jones to plug. We get players who can plug some holes. But we need like for like players. If we have a 5-star rating player, we need to replace him either with a 5-star rating player or with a 4-star rating player. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. So that's what happened. Now let's get to the big events, Rugby World Cup. Namibia almost pulled their first victory over Uruguay, their first World Cup victory in participating in the last 7. It was a game first off because I was sleeping. I didn't know it was playing on a Thursday. I was asleep. My friend called me. He's like, bro, Namibia is leading. We're about to win this. I get up. I go tune on the TV, get on to Super Sport 2-1 or 2-3-1. I get onto it. Namibia is leading. We're leading heading into halftime. But then, even though we're leading because we scored some tries, I think we scored, our winger scored a fast try and our fly-off was kicking quite well. So we're leading on the board, but we're not keeping Uruguay scoreless. I'm sitting there, I text my friend, I tell him, hey, second half, watch Uruguay come back. Because even before heading into halftime, Uruguay was putting pressure on us. They're putting pressure, they're starting to get some how do I call it, some fluidity in their game because it was bit mixed and matched. And I think what shocked them was probably the way Namibians played. We were physical, we were not just being physical, we were also taking them on. The fact that we were playing almost like a boxer, you know, when you're boxing, you're fighting somebody and this guy is good at counter punching. You throw a left, he throws a right. You throw a left, he throws his left. I mean, you throw a right, he throws his left. So he's counter punching and he keeps on avoiding your punches and he lands one quickly. Just a quick punch to shock you. So second half comes, yellow card to our captain, Chuo Anive. I don't know, was it the first or the second half? He gets sent off because he was trying to tackle was trying to tackle the number 9 of Uruguay, but the guy is short and Chuo Anive is a tall guy. I think he's 2 meters. So he has to go down. And as he's going down, he's dropping himself to put this tackle in. The guy runs into Chewy's shoulder, head contact to the shoulder, gets sent off to the bunker, does that funny X sign, shows that it's going to a bunker to be referred. Luckily, it just remains a yellow card, so Chewy is going to come back on. So then the game keeps on playing. Uruguay are starting to put pressure. Suddenly now their number 10 is starting to do Manny Lebok-ish type of kicks, getting the ball past left, right. They're not getting through. Does a a kick pass where the Uruguayan player catches it, runs over, scores a try. The other one does it, he misses. I mean, it goes out. Now Uruguay is putting pressure. Chewy is off. The number nine, and I understand why they kept on saying that the Uruguayan number nine is the Uruguay of Dupont, plays almost similar to Dupont. He took his chance, picked up the ball at the because Uruguay are picking and going, picking and going, picking and going, picks up the ball, runs the defensive line, runs sideways, beats one defender, runs again, he's running in a zigzag motion, beating defenders as he's going through to go score the try underneath the post. It was all Uruguay's to lose. Uruguay suddenly turned it up. I think the coach told them, boys, we either decide if we're losing today or we're going to get our first victory in this Rugby World Cup leading up to the New Zealand game because you want to go in with momentum. So they play brilliant. They score tries. They beat us. Our replacement prop comes in, right? He's standing up straight in a tackle. And we know this is a no-no nowadays. You need to duck. You need to at least hit him in the chest area or beneath or the stomach area. He's standing up straight, head collision. I saw that already and I know, it's red card. This guy's going to go hit the showers. And the referee reviews it, sends it to the bunker for referral, and they look at it, he gets sent off. Chiwa Niv is getting annoyed with Roman Poit. I agree, Roman Poit is not the easiest ref to play while he's officiating the match. The Springboks have had issues with him. Australia have had issues with him. New Zealand have had issues with him. Nobody really tends to like him. He's like the modern day Bryce Lawrence. He's difficult. But it happened. Uruguay pulled it through. Uruguay wins that game. Namibia keep their record intact of never winning a match at the Rugby World Cup leading up to 2027. And I believe 2027 is going to be a much more difficult qualifier because I believe the teams on the continent here, Kenya, Zimbabwe, Tunisia, and all these other teams that we play with to qualify the African Cup are starting to improve. They're getting their development proper. Here in Namibia, if our rugby union doesn't pull up its socks, we might not see ourselves playing 2027 Rugby World Cup. So let's look at the other big games that happened. South Africa, Tonga. I wanted South Africa to win this game by 50 points. But then I knew, when I looked at the team sheet, the South African coaching staff actually made wholesale changes. The front row was changed. You had Oxenche, Dion Fourie, Vincent Koch. That was their starting tight three. Then you had the locks, which was Ebert Itzebeth, Marvin Ori, Sia Kolisi, Dwayne Vermeulen, Jasper Visser. Number 9, Reinach. 10, Henry Pollard. Pollard had a very good day kicking. Like, I won't lie, even though I'm a big Manny Lebok fan, I missed Henry Pollard's boot. I missed the surety and the setup. Pollard's setup is similar to a Jonathan Sexton setup. It's similar to, okay, Owen Farrell's a good kicker, but Farrell's setup takes a bit long. But Jonathan Sexton puts it down, looks at the post, gets himself ready and kicks. Pollard does the same thing, and he did that for 4 kicks without missing. And I was just there like, yeah, we missed this. We missed that surety that this guy will get it over every time. But we'll get them over every time. He was kicking so crisp. It was even the kicks that were a bit difficult, he landed them without any problems. And then defense defended quite well, but the Tongans were hard. And the Tongans played very smart. What the Tongans did in this game, they kept it tight. We thought, everybody the whole week was talking about Tonga is going to try to make this game loose, almost turn it into a game of sevens rugby because that's where they're good. But nah, they fronted up. They fronted up in the scrum. They fronted up in the lineout. First off, the lineout wasn't functioning well. Adam Coleman comes on. Suddenly their lineout is operating well. They're stealing balls. They're winning balls now. Their scrum was good. Their mauls were good. Their pick and go was good. I think Ben Famaina scored 2 tries. Yeah, he scored 2 tries. Their fly half let them down in the match. He was missing. David Avili. I mean, what's his brother? It's not David. David Avili is the New Zealand. David Avili's brother was missing the kicks. But overall, they played a very interesting game. And I was questioning, like, Tonga played Scotland. I mean, Ireland, they got beaten. They got a hiding. They played Scotland, they got a hiding. They play South Africa. Suddenly, they pull their best game out of their bag, and now they're putting hits. They're tackling. They're literally up for it. And probably it's the fact that now the team is starting to get their mojo going. And once they have that mojo going, they're gonna be an interesting team to play because they've so far played South Africa, Scotland, Ireland. They still have to play Romania, which we all know Tonga is gonna probably blow that game out, or it could be a close game like Fiji, um, Fiji, Georgia. So what was the big highlights in that game? The referee didn't give any yellow cards. There were some very questionable decisions he didn't make, which I believe could have been cards towards Tonga. The Mapimpi injury, the head-on collision with the scrum of Tonga. I saw as soon as that collision happened and Mapimpi went down, he didn't get back up. I knew that he's probably injured. And then when he got up, he was swollen. This whole area, I think it was the left side, his eye area and socket area was swollen. So I know that was direct to the head, similar to what Dupont got from our captain John Daisel. And chances are he probably broke his cheekbone. So he went in for an HI test, HIH or something like that, the concussion test, and he didn't come back out. So then Jesse Creel slotted, but then they switched. Canelan Moody went to the wing, Creel came into the centers. That's how they did their switch. And they played. And it was a physical bruising game. But let's look at the results. Australia 34, Portugal 14. I watched that game and I was sitting there saying, had Portugal had some more experienced players, had they had a Quade Cooper or a Matt Gito or a Henry Pollard or an Elton Janchis or a Finn Russell, Portugal would have won this game. Australia literally made a game out of this. They should have killed Portugal within the first half and silenced the crowd and kept the crowd quiet and it showed Portugal that, hey man, even though Wales beat us, we're still a two-time winning rugby World Cup squad. But they didn't. There was before they scored all their tries to get it to the 34. There was a point there where it was like 25-14, and Portugal had it all to play. Portugal made mistakes. They knocked the ball on. Sometimes it was passing, and the ball would get passed out because there's no one there, or it's their captain taking the ball, the number 12. There was a point where he was running lateral, running horizontal, not vertical. He was running horizontally in this motion rather than running straight into the Australian defense, pulling in the two defenders and passing it to their number 11, who could have ran in for a try. And he didn't. He runs horizontally towards the number 14, the winger, and he passes the guy the ball. There's no way he's going to go. He's just going to get tackled out. So there were some very questionable decisions there by Portugal, but it shows. And I think it comes down to the experience that they're lacking. Had they had an experienced fly half there, I think this game, Australia would have lost it. But big ups to the Wallabies for winning that 34-14. They can still qualify. And this all lies at the hand to say Portugal needs to beat Fiji. I know Eddie Jones made some jokes that he probably needs to send some Australian players to Portugal to help the Portuguese be a bit competitive. But if I was Eddie Jones, me and the and the Portuguese coach would have been communicating after the game, take each other's numbers, send each other some text messages, be like, here's a couple of clips that you guys have to work on. There's a couple of things that I saw you guys just need to improve. Just helping them out so they survive. Just like what everybody's busy talking about, what Ireland and Scotland are busy doing, that chances are Scotland and Ireland are probably going to try to do next match fixing for this final game between Scotland and Ireland, because if Scotland wins, beats Ireland by 8 points, and Ireland gets a losing bonus point, South Africa is out. So there's a lot of conspiracies flying around, which I'm not really going to get into, but it's there because we know modern day sport what has happened. Modern day sport, unfortunately, is corrupt, and it happened in cricket, it's happened in football, it's happened in Italian football. Match fixing is a reality. We can't hide away from it. It does happen. But then Scotland played Romania. They played quite well. They didn't have Duan van der Merwe. I think they were resting him for the Ireland game because Duan van der Merwe, I think, has a good record scoring tries against Scotland. Against Ireland. So I think they needed him for that one to silence Hansen and to silence James Lowe. So this is why they rested him. Probably had a knock. So they went with Skalstein and Darcy Gray. They went with Darcy. Is Darcy Gray? His name is Darcy Gray. With Darcy on the wing, and they scored. And I think he scored three or four tries that game. He was scoring so many tries. Romania were competitive, trying to play, but it was just one-sided. They got steamrolled over. Fiji Georgia was a very close game. It ended 17-12. Georgia could have claimed the scalp of Fiji, but they were making mistakes. It was quite refreshing watching the smaller teams or the lower nations, the smaller nations taking each other on. And the fact that Georgia, after getting beaten almost by everybody, decided like screw this, we're not scared of Fiji. We're going to meet Fiji in the tackles. We're going to meet them in the scrums. We're going to meet them in the rocks. We're not going to shy away. And they played them that way. I think at a point the Fijians were quite shocked to say these guys are trying to out Fiji us, out trying to play like us, but we're not going to allow them to do this. So Fiji stuck at it and kept on going. You had Argentina, Chile, the South American derby. It was always going to be one-sided. The Chilean number 10, the try and the kick conversion, he missed it. And a couple of kicks he was missing. But Argentina, always the classy act. So I've always said that Argentina versus Japan is going to be a mouth-watering game. Because Japan beat Samoa. They're almost halfway through. Now all Japan has to do is when they play Argentina is to beat Argentina. And then they're through. It's going to be an interesting one. They brought back Nicolas Sanchez. I've been asking where he's been this entire Rugby World Cup. He came back and he's been sweet off the boot. He's always been sweet. That's the thing of Nicolas. He doesn't miss. He's a very good number 10. Then you had New Zealand, Italy. This was the so-called blockbuster game for the weekend. This game was being talked up by the journalists, the rugby brains, rugby journalists, sport journalists in Europe that Italy can actually beat New Zealand after what New Zealand showed against France. Italy can actually hit them. And they did a meme of, what was that movie? World War. What was it? There was an old movie we watched where the humans went into a planet and the planet was infested by gigantic insects. And when they captured the queen at the end, and then they brought one of their psychic generals and he put his hand on the queen and he's like, she's scared. And so they used that. They put a New Zealand flag and they put an Italian flag. So I thought Italy, with all the noise that was coming through, I thought Italy have improved because we've seen what they've done. And the fact that Italy, after France, were the only unbeaten team in their group. The fact that at a point Italy were leading this group because they beat Namibia, they beat Uruguay, they beat Namibia, they beat Uruguay. Who else is in the group with them? They beat all the teams. They beat Namibia, they beat Uruguay. Now they played New Zealand, they lost, they still have to play France. I thought Italy were going to be doing something quite great there because the star players, I was even saying, why are they playing Gerbisi at 10 and playing Thomas Allen at 15? Bring Thomas Allen at 10. Bench Gerbisi and bring him on the second half. So you can just get some attack juices going. It didn't happen. New Zealand ran 96-17. New Zealand was scoring tries in that game. It was almost as if they were doing it for fun. There was no real combativeness by Italy. Italy were not even tackling. I said it in that match that it looks like the Italians are here playing touch rugby because they're not putting in hits. The only player I could say was really trying was the number 13 of Italy. He was the only guy trying. He was tackling. Every time he got the ball, he was running into the New Zealand defensive line, trying to break it, not being scared. The rest of the guys looked like they were confused. There was half of the time when New Zealand ran and scored a try. What is his name? Gabisi. When New Zealand go over for a try, he'd be looking like, he'd be pulling a face like a person who's already given up. It looks like in the first half, the Italians had already thrown in the towel to say, I think let's get onto the train. Let's go, guys, because we're getting hammered here. Second half, we thought we were going to see some sort of fight. They scored a try. I think they scored 3 tries in that game, right? Yeah, they scored their first try. The house was jumping because we're like, wow, it's going to happen now. By their young talented Italian player, went over, jumped, scored the try. He had 3 New Zealanders on him, got their try. And then second half, Monty Ione scores his first try, then scores a second try. And we're all sitting, and I'm sitting there and I'm saying, but Italy should have shown this. I think they just scored 2 tries, if I'm not mistaken, in that game. 2, I believe. Italy should have shown all this grit in the first half to really compete with New Zealand. They were destroyed. Their coach, Coach Crowley, didn't know whether he should laugh or cry. He was just there like, they monstered us. It was a training match for New Zealand, that game. We were nowhere near them. We couldn't put in a tackle. We couldn't touch them. They were gone. And I was sitting there, and then Nick Mellett said something quite interesting when it went back to the panel. He said, but why were Italy trying to outplay New Zealand? Why did Italy not play their usual game? Put territorial pressure on the All Blacks, keep on turning them back, because it's easy for a team to run up, to shoot up, to defend. It's quite terrible for a team to turn around and have to run back to their own goal line. It's tiring. Because now it takes more energy to turn around to run back than it is to run straight. Why were Italy not doing that? They got Thomas Allen, who's got a very good educated boot who can get the who can get New Zealand going backwards, but they didn't do that. And so New Zealand just monstered them. There was a point where Adi Savia literally picked up the ball at the rack, ran right through everybody, going all the way to the try line and passing it. It was so bad. That game was just one-sided at one point. It was entertaining for the New Zealand fans because the New Zealanders were playing their typical running rugby, but it was heartbreaking for the Italians. I mean, before halftime, was it halftime? Halfway in the game, half of the Italian fans started leaving the stadium. There were pictures where they showed the stadium outside. People were packing and leaving because I'm sure that's not what the Italian fans wanted to see. They wanted to see the team beat the All Blacks for the first time in history and it didn't happen. So, hey, that's the wrap that happened on the sports that I watched. Leading up to this one, New Zealand plays Uruguay, Italy, France. That could be interesting. Italy could actually remove France out of this World Cup if they actually play a good game. South Africa are not playing this weekend. They have to wait on Ireland and Scotland to see how those games go. Tonga, I think, still have a date with Romania. Uh, Australia are not playing any games. They have to wait to see how Fiji, Portugal go. Argentina, Japan. I think that one will be the big blockbuster game. But then on Magazola Mapimpi's injury, they called in Lukanjo Amp. Amp is back. People are asking why him, why didn't they call up someone else? Others are saying why they didn't take a risk and call a youngster to give him a shot. But I knew they were gonna call Luke because what Luke brings to that team is he brings some um, he marshals his defensive line. Will he play if, let's say, South Africa goes through, they're playing France? Will Lukanjo Amp start that game? I'm not sure, but hey, I think he might be. He might make it on the bench. But then they go 6-2. That's how South Africa plays 6-2 split. So what does this mean? You go six forwards and two backline players. Are you going to have Lukanjo Amp there? Lukanjo Amp is not a kicker unless you're going to have Mani Lebok doing the kicking the whole game against France, or you start with Pollard and Mani is not on the bench. But I think they might switch it down to probably go 4-4-3. Four forwards, your two props, one hooker, one lock. But then what do you do with a guy like Waha Smith? So it's going to be interesting. It's an interesting dilemma for the coaches. They're probably going to keep an eye to see how Lukanjo Amp is going, how he's going. Does he still have the feel for it? Because Lukanjo Amp is as important to South Africa as a Jody Barrett is to New Zealand. Lukanjo Amp is as important to South Africa as an Owen Farrell is to England. Lukanjo Amp is as important to South Africa as a Jonathan Sexton is to Ireland. So having him there actually helps calms down the backline and actually helps out a guy like Mani Lebok because now rather than Mani Lebok having to run the show on his own, you got a guy like Lukanjo Amp who's also reading. So I'd love to see how the coaches are going to, if South Africa does go through and they get France, I'd love to see how they'll pick their bench. But I can actually see Lukanjo Amp appearing on the list very soon. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thank you very much. And don't forget to hit that sharp button and turn on the bell notification to be notified of future uploads. But then, see you next time. Bye for now.